Australian administrators are really conscious of bringing young players through the system. So, yeah, Blake's on fire. And the good thing for us tonight, as the commentators, they make it very easy. They've all got red helmets from the Australian team. So.
Oh, we thank you very much, Team Australia. Hey, we talk about polo being a family sport, and we've got a real example of that out tonight in numbers 2 and 3.
We sure do. So, number 2, we've got Lockie Gilmore, who is the son of our captain out there in number 3, Glenn Gilmore. Now, Glenn Gilmore had an amazing game last night. He's very well mounted, and his son Lockie is there with him. Lockie's only 19 years of age, so again, following in that, they're going to mix a little bit of experience with Glenn Gilmore. Has had many wins here in this arena, and then we've got Lockie, and it's his first time playing for Australia at the show. So
well, we wish him all the very best tonight. Lockie Gilmore, only 19 years of age, first time out here at Sydney Royal, up against the Kiwis. Dean Fullerton, Nick Kite and Tom Hunt. Who do we need to really watch out for here on the Kiwi side?
So as it goes handicap-wise, Tom Hunt's at the back. He's the number 3. He's got the green Gemalong bandages on that pony. He is the strongest player of the Kiwis, and again, he's the captain, so he's at the back. He's calling all the shots from the back of the field. Dean Fullerton's up at number 1. Again, young player on the rise. And then Nick Kite, who comes from a very, very strong polo family in New Zealand. We've had many Kites playing here on this field over the years, and Nick, I think it might be his first time playing for his country at the show. He's played for New Zealand on many other occasions, but this is the first time here in this arena. But I think the umpires might be going to line these players up so we can have a bit of an introduction.
Well, this event here has been run since 1939. 1939, and a very, very long time, been supported in the more recent years as the Sir Frank Packer Gold Polo Cup that they're competing for here this evening. And you've actually played out here, Adam Buchert. A little birdie told me in the members bar a moment ago.
Yes, we won this tournament, or not this tournament in particular, but we won the gold trophy, I think back in 2008 or 2007 it was. And yeah, the governor was actually up in the Fairfax stand, and one of the guys on my team actually smashed one of the windows with a polo ball up there. It was an amazing final.
What a claim to fame.
Yeah.
Oh, hope we see something like that here tonight, but not on behalf of the Royal Agricultural Society. They wouldn't like to see that. Hey, this is a pretty special game out here for a number of reasons. One, this is not a normal polo-sized field, is it?
Correct. This is a smaller field than what you would normally see in a traditional field. We think it's an integral part of the polo, and for the people from the city to see a game of polo, so we're happy to put on. So normally you would have 4 players on this on a normal standard field, but because this is a little bit smaller, these teams are now actually only 3-a-side teams. And I think the umpires are just calling for some goal judges, because they need to have a judge down there to ensure that the ball has actually gone through the goals. And they're just checking with the green coats or the stewards to see where the goal judges actually are.
I wouldn't want that job personally, because that is not a soft ball, is it?
No, it's broken quite a few bones. And
Turn them on, wouldn't it?
yep, so we're just waiting to see where Duncan McIntyre is.
Just in the box next to us here in the show jumping box. He's going to make our calls tonight in terms of the start and end times of our chukkers. You'll hear the buzzer go when he is ready to get underway.
So while we're waiting for the goal judges, how about we just introduce the players to the public here? We'll get the umpire, Ray Bruce, can line the players up, and we'll introduce them all. If we could do that, Ray, at the centre of the field. So you'll see that the Australians in the green and gold alone up on the right-hand side.
Yep, we'll just wait a second for him. We'll throw in from the X tonight.
Oh, I hear they're throwing in just a few moments' time. Tell me, Adam, why do they start like this? They're going to do a throw-in. Why don't they just let one team or the other kick off?
I think it's just to ensure that there is no bias either way, no advantage. They look. It's a bit like a line out in rugby. They say, you know, you throw it up. They create a tunnel, and
Adam, we right to go?
Yes,
Okay.
we're all good to go in the top,
Line up,
and
guys,
the
let's
ball's
go.
about to be thrown in. Umpire Ray Bruce. And here we go, the first line out for this test match. Australia, the Trans-Tasman Challenge, and it's the captain, Glenn Gilmore, off on the fly on a lovely little horse called Rhonda. Hits it through for Australia, and Australia draw first blood. It's goal time.
I'll tell you what, have we seen an 8-second goal here before? Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you make some noise for Australia. We want to see them really get some goals on the board before the Kiwis
Anyway,
do.
guys.
Great goal there, Glenn Gilmore on Rhonda. Rhonda out of a very good stallion, by a good stallion, I should say, called Normandy from the Elliston property. You can see the Elliston saddlecloth there, but out of the line out again. Big ride off there by Lockie Gilmore. On to the right side of Dean Fullerton. Dean Fullerton, very good in defence, covers it there, lets it, just watches it go over the back line, and it'll be Australia now watching as New Zealand get a set play off the back line. So Tom Hunt, the captain, will bring it in. Tom Hunt can probably slot this from here if he really tries. And there you go. He's hit it quite big, looking for a running Dean Fullerton, but Dean Fullerton's been covered very well by Glenn Gilmore. Glenn Gilmore, the Australian captain, backing it to his son, Lockie Gilmore, on the fly. He's got Nick Kite in his ribcage. Nick Kite gets the better of him, and he just does a little tap there onto the stick of Tom Hunt, but it's been stolen by Gilmore. Lockie Gilmore, the 19-year-old from Scone, hits it pretty well towards a goal. Lovely neck shot by Australia.
And the crowd goes wild for the 19-year-old Lockie Gilmore.
And Australia doing all the work at the moment. But as we know, with the smaller field, it should be a very high-scoring game. And the Kiwis, they won't be worried by a 2-goal deficit or a 3-goal deficit. They can come back very quick. It's very easy to score 2 or 3 quick goals on this field. And Glenn Gilmore now in his defensive half, punches it up over the halfway line, trying to get it there to Blake Reed. Blake Reed was under the pump on a little horse called Celestial. Glenn Gilmore backs it across, looking for Lockie. Lockie's going to have to take it. Oh, thought he might have had to take it near side, but he went stick side. Whistle didn't go. Tom Hunt keeps it alive on the Gemelong horse. Tom Hunt taking it unmarked all the way. Now he pushes it through to Nick Kite. Will this be the first goal for New Zealand? Here they go, the Kiwis. And the All Blacks are back. 2-1 to Australia. And as I said, it can turn around very, very quickly on this field. So we'll go back to the halfway. Umpire Ray Bruce will throw in. And you can see here that the players actually change direction. So once they score one way and they go back to the centre, they will change directions. Lockie Gilmore cuts. Tries it again. He had it. His last goal was a very, very good cut shot, but he couldn't quite get enough onto that one, so it's gone wide. The Kiwis breathe a sigh of relief. They get a little set play, so they probably have practiced a couple of these plays off the back line, but they didn't practice that. First one to get back around to it. Blake Reed could have nearly stolen that, but he didn't get there quick enough, and Tom Hunt for New Zealand. The New Zealand captain now taking it forward. Son of the great Paul Hunt. Keeps it. Tom Hunt gets past Reed. Reed scrubbing the pony to try and catch up. So Tom Hunt, here he goes. The second one looks like it's a no-brainer for New Zealand, and it's through. Tom Hunt, the captain. So he's playing a role very similar to Glenn Gilmore. From the back, he's controlling the play. He saw that he'd out-horsed his opposition there, so he took the inside run, and he just kept the ball himself, put a couple of lengths on him and slotted it through. So we've got a tied-up ball game, and it's 2 goals apiece. Ball's thrown in again. There's that man, Tom Hunt, having a very good first chucker. Tom Hunt now hits it through, trying to get it all the way up to Nick Kite. Nick Kite can't do much with it, but it's been backed by Lockie Gilmore for Australia. Great defence by Australia. Glenn Gilmore will keep it. No, he lets Lockie run onto it. Lockie Gilmore on a great little horse called Malt. But he puts too much on it. Blake Reed sees it there, or should I say Dean Fullerton, on a little brown horse called Moxie. Dean Fullerton for New Zealand backed it across, but now it's found Tom Hunt. Tom Hunt hits it looking for Fullerton, who's supposed to be running up the centre of the field. He didn't quite get there in time, so it's been turned from defence into attack by the Aussies. Blake Reed on the attack, on Celestial. He's going to have to put plenty of angle with a big neck shot on it here. Doesn't get enough.
Behind.
It's a very difficult shot if you're riding towards a grandstand or a... what do you call that? The big steel ball, to get a pony to steady themselves for a big neck shot. But he did very well, but didn't get enough on it. And now it's been tapped in by New Zealand. Tom Hunt on Temby. Hits it up very... That's the shot he needed to a running I think it's Dean Fullerton there, the number 1. He can't put enough on it. Glenn Gilmore cleaning it up in the defensive position that he plays so well. Glenn Gilmore, the Australian captain, had an absolute blinder here last night, and he's on the attack. He's at the halfway mark now. Glenn, he's probably trying not to take it all the way himself if he can, because he knows he's still got to get past Tom Hunt. He's looking for someone to run through for the pass, but then he decides he doesn't need it, and Glenn Gilmore takes it around with a beautiful neck shot and puts the Aussies back in front, and it's 3-2, and Australia are back.
Well, only a minute 20 remaining on the clock in the first chukker here. Now 4 chokkers to compete here to get ahead of the Kiwis.
It has been a furious chukker here. The first chukker has been absolutely outstanding. Both teams giving 150%. The Kiwis, we know they never give in. And Tom Hunt again on the attack, but he's just got an unlucky bounce. Left it behind for, looks like it's for Dean Fullerton. Fullerton can't quite do much on the little black horse Moxie, but it's been cleaned up again by Hunt. He's everywhere at the moment, Thomas Hunt. Tom goes for the next shot, trying to copy the shot that Glenn Gilmore did, but again, he couldn't put enough angle on it, and it's gone out over the back line. So 49 seconds left on the clock. Glenn Gilmore will probably talk to his troops and then just say, right, we're going to go 1 left, 1 right. Looks to see you find some space. Looks like Lockie's found a little bit of space and he's running on. He doesn't want to get out of range here, but Glenn does have a good shot on him, and it has come up off the pony's leg now for Nick Kite. Nick Kite can't do much with it on the little horse called Pumbaa. Pumbaa out of a very good mare called Quest by a Peter Bonetto stallion Tuscany from Cannonbar up at Scone, up at Gundy. Big ride off there by the Kiwi Nick Kite. Glenn Gilmore, loose again. Dangerous times for the Kiwis. He's looking over his shoulder at the clock. They say he's looking at the clock. I think he might have been looking at the camera to see if he was on the big screen, but it's gone wide. And they probably won't get enough time to get back to the centre now. And that's the end of the first chukker. And it's Australia with their nose in front, 3-2. And a very good chukker by Glenn Gilmore on the lovely horse called Rhonda. And also at the back for the Kiwis, Tom Hunt.
Well, Adam Buchert, we are seeing some outstanding polo out here today. What pace are they going out in those ponies?
Oh, they're 110%. They are not leaving anything in the tank. They are, I won't say balls to the wall, but they are flat out.
They are going flat out. About 40 kilometres an hour we'll see them get up to out there in this polo chukker. I notice we're seeing our players now bring their horses over, dismount and get it on another horse. Walk us through that.
So the game of polo, because it is so fast and furious, these players, they love their ponies so much. They know that without them, they are nothing, and they, you know, you've got to preserve the ponies, so you can't stay on these ponies for the whole game. So they divide these games into chukkers, which are about 6 minutes long at the show. A standard game on a bigger field is 7 minutes long, but because the show is so intense, it's so fast, and there's so much stopping and turning, we need to make sure that the ponies are really well looked after. So they've reduced it now down to a 6-minute chukker. So we've got 4 chukkers here to decide who will be the Trans-Tasman champions for 2019, and they're 6 minutes long. And then they have a quick couple of minute break between each chukker, and they'll be on a fresh pony, and then they'll be back out shortly. You can see a couple of players just riding their ponies near the sidelines, just getting them used to all the different scenery that they may not be used to. You don't see too many motorbike ramps and stuff like that out at the normal fields. So they're getting them a little bit used to it. And, you know, the worst thing that we have, like when you are running to goal and you are flat bickies, if you're heading towards the Vincent Fairfax stand and they see the big Cornetto sign, it can be quite dangerous when you're leaning right out to shoot that last shot. And but these ponies seem to be all taking it in their stride here today.
You were talking before about us doing sort of an amalgamation of the sport here and bringing it a bit downsized for this arena. But the players love playing here under the big lights, tens of thousands of people, weird obstacles all over the place. And, of course, a couple of big prestigious trophies that we'll talk about later on this evening.
It sure does. These players would give anything to play at the show and to play for their country. So they are going to give it 110%. And we saw in the first chukker they're doing that. They're leaving nothing in the tank. And we've got a couple of beautiful ponies coming out here. We've got Blake Reed's on a lovely little Beltree's horse called Maria. Beltree's from Scone have provided 3 ponies for Blake Reed today. And Lockie Gilmore's on a lovely horse called Marigold from Bruce Gavin at Wellington. So Glenn Gilmore's controlled that line out again, as we saw him do last night. He won a lot of line outs from the back there last night. He's just waiting for his runner to get into position. Hits it pretty cleanly. Looks pretty good from here, but it might be wide to the right, and it's gone over the back line.
Well, they're competing tonight for a number of major trophies, not least of which the Cayuga Perpetual Cup, which you'll be judging, I understand, Adam, which is presented to the team of 3 playing ponies, judged to be the best competing in the test match here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Correct. So there'll be the FL Bragg Trophy for the champion pony here tonight. It'll be decided here and now on this field. And then we also have the Cayuga Perpetual, which is the champion pony prize. So this is going to be, again, a lot of prestige. Glenn Gilmore has hit that really well. He's curved that around, and it's through for Australia. They've now gone 2 in front, and it's 4 goals to 2. He is very, very strong. I actually think that you could probably give Glenn Gilmore a different handicap at the show. At the moment, he's 6 goals. His handicap is 6 goals on the big field, but in the show, you'd have to say he's an 8. Ball's thrown in. Backed very well there by Dean Fullerton on a lovely little horse called Andre, bred by the Dowlings down near Young. Glenn Gilmore on Glitter. He's on now. Another Bruce Gavin horse, Glenn Gilmore, taking it. Tried to get back inside around Tom Hunt, but that's not easy. Tom Hunt for New Zealand, the captain at the back. And you can just see Nick Kite getting in behind him. Then he stands. He's on a horse called Revenge. Revenge is by Tuscany out of a very good thoroughbred mare called Rhythm. Rhythm won champion pony at Elliston many years ago. Bred by Peter Bonetto, and it's been backed across to Lockie Gilmore. Can't do much. It might have hit a divot, stayed behind. Blake Reed was digging it out with all his might to try and do what he could there on the Beltree's pony, and it's been backed straight up the field by New Zealand. Again, like I said last night, it's very easy to turn defence into attack on this field or in any game of polo. You can be running back and do a lovely tail shot onto a running player, and it can be a goal very, very quickly. And there's the tail shot again, looking for Lockie Gilmore. Opens the shoulders, but he's too wide. He's probably need a little bit more angle there on Marigold, the Bruce Gavin pony. Gavin's very well-known breeders. They had a great stallion up there at Wellington called Churchill. Churchill goes back to the Brizette line. The Nabnabar Brizette was one of the strong bloodlines in that stallion's pedigree, but it's gone into the blue zone, so the player will just bring it in, tap it out. It looks like it's going to be Blake Reed hitting it out of the blue zone onto Lockie Gilmore's stick, but he's been ridden off hard by Tom Hunt, the New Zealand captain. Comes up with the ball. Now it's Kite. Kite takes the big bump on Revenge. Revenge got champion pony in the ladies' test match out at Windsor 2 weeks ago when Australia played England. Ridden by Indy Bonetto. Tom Hunt again. Just trying to play a little bit of cat and mouse with Blake Reed. Hits it cleanly. He's looking for runners, but there he is going back in defence. Glenn Gilmore unmarked. So Nick Kite left him loose there, which is not a wise idea on this small field because Glenn Gilmore can get away very quickly. Again, Glenn comes up with the ball in the right position every time. But the ball has been picked up by Kite. Nick Kite hits it pretty cleanly, but he'll need a bit more wheat bix now to stop Glenn Gilmore from getting that. Glenn is going to try and back it out of the goal mouth. He takes it across the field, and then he's going to have to go onto his near side to get it off Thomas Hunt, and Thomas is just going to let it go out over the board. So we'll have a throw in on the far side, on the eastern side of this beautiful field. Umpire Ray Bruce will throw in. And it's very similar to a line out in rugby. It must go in straight. The players should try and keep a tunnel. Lovely neck shot there by Reed. Or Glenn Gilmore, I should say, out of the back of the line out. Now it's Reed. Blake Reed from Queensland. Opens the shoulders. Looks pretty good from here. Goal! It's a goal. Nearly from halfway. Great goal by Blake Reed. On the lovely little horse called Maria. A chestnut. Bred by Beltrees, the White family up at Scone. And it's 5 goals to 2, and it's been all Australia, this chucker. So a very strong chucker from the Aussies. Now the ball's been left behind. Glenn Gilmore shouting orders to Blake Reed to leave it, turn and go. He'll stand and deliver, hits it up. but it's been read very well by the New Zealand captain, Tom Hunt. He's going to watch it go over the back line because it goes over the back line, he'll then get an opportunity to set his players into the right position. And he'll do one or two things. He'll take it himself a little way, then unload. Sometimes they do unload the big ball from the back line, but tonight he's going to just dribble it up, try and get a little bit of field position, try and get as close as he can to that halfway, and he hits it very cleanly. And you watch Glenn Gilmore's pony here. Look at that, the big steel ball. Big ride off on the boards by Fullerton, Dean Fullerton on Andre. And that's a great shot by Lockie Gilmore, looking for his dad, the 19-year-old. Hits it nearly the full length of the field. Glenn Gilmore's pony again, looking at the purple display boards. Puts plenty of angle on it, and he's done it. 6 goals to 2. That is an amazing goal by Glenn Gilmore. Probably 3 degrees angle across the back line there, and he slots it through. And that man there today is on fire. He can do no wrong. About less than a minute, 38 seconds left on the clock here in this second chukker, and it has been all Australia in this chukker. So lovely back shot. Let's see if New Zealand can put a quick one on here now. It looks like it's Fullerton on the attack. He's going to have to hit it out, hit next shot early, but he can't do it. As I said, the pony was looking at the display boards. He was starting to come back a little bit, so it was a very difficult shot. Tom Hunt still inside their half. 15 seconds. So he's got time, but he's probably going to just have to shape it up and take the shot. He's probably not going to have enough time to run it in. If he tries to dribble it, he will run out of time. 7 seconds. Let's see what he can do under plenty of pressure from Reid. Reid gets the ride. Ledden leaves it. He leaves it behind. It's a goal to New Zealand with 1 second left.
Chucker.
And it's 6 goals to 3. And that's a much better deficit there, Lindsay, to go back to the pony lines with a 3-goal deficit over a 4.
So they'll go for a changeover now on their mounts. I want to talk to you a bit about these horses, Adam. A couple of ex-race horses out here being used in their second career, I guess you could say, in the polo world. Yeah, correct. There's not as many as there were last night. Last night, a couple of the players that were here had more, but we do try to use as many ponies off the track as we possibly can. You know, it's a great sport for ponies that might be too small to race. You can see these aren't the big horses like we saw in the Pope Cup earlier. Some of those horses were absolute monsters, and but these are much smaller. They're only around 15-1. So, you know, you do find a lot of trainers say, oh, look, it's probably too small to go on with, so we need to find another home for it. And a lot of those do go to polo, and there's a couple of them out here tonight. Fantastic to see racehorses move on to another part of their career and doing so well in a sport like polo. You mentioned divots out there. The ball got stuck in one earlier on. One of the great parts about the world of polo is that it's a sport that brings in spectators partway through the match. Can you walk us through that? Correct, yeah. So in a normal situation and where we don't have a grandstand like we do here, the spectators make a bit of a day of it. They'll go out and they'll have a picnic on the sidelines, and it's a tradition, a long-held tradition for the spectators to go out and help smooth the field in while at the halfway mark. So on a big field, we'll have 6 chukkers, and so at the end of the 3rd chukker, the players will get a bit longer break, so they get to have a drink, get some Gatorade or some water, and while they're doing that, the coach will come in and he'll be shouting orders at them at the back at the tents, and while they're doing that, the players go out and stomp some divots for an extra 10 minutes, and that just helps keep the field smooth. And but you'll see here we actually have a roller. The tractor comes out before the game. So after all those hacking events and the show jumping and the tent pegging and all that sort of the stuff, the wear and tear that this field cops, it gets rolled, and that makes the surface pristine for these 4 chukkers here tonight. If the mums and dads and boys and girls have become brand new fans of this sport, where can they go to watch it around the state? So there's 3 main areas, but at the moment the biggest centre is in Western Sydney, out in the Hawkesbury at Richmond. There's 3 or 4 academies out there where people can get lessons and hire ponies to just see if they enjoy the sport, and then they can take it from there. Now the game's back on, 6 goals to 3 to Australia at the moment. The ball's gone into the blue zone. So you'll see there's a blue line. You might not be able to see it, but there's a blue line around all those stands. And if the ball goes in there, the player that hit the ball last goes in and just brings it out of the blue zone and then hits it. But look, it's New Zealand. They did the quick play out of the blue zone. They ran it across the back line, and it's now 6 goals to 4.
in Australia's way. We'll go back to the centre line and we'll change directions. And we'll have a quick look at some of these ponies. So we're in the third chukker. So Dean Fullerton's on a horse bred by the Garangula, or the Schwarzenbach family at the Garangula farm down in Jugiong. There's Nick Kite is on Rafriki, which is, there's a mare here. Oh, Nick Kite on Rafriki leaves it behind the black horse. Again, just got an unlucky bounce. Look at that, Lockie Gilmore for Australia, hitting up to a running Blake Reed, the young Queenslander on the attack. Australia, will they make it 7-4? But it looks like it's gone wide. But you'll note Nick Kite has 3 horses here that are all full sisters. They were embryos out of the one mare, a very good mare called Quest. By Peter Benetto's stallion Tuscany. So there was Pumba in the first, Rafriki in this chukker. In the last chukker, a mare called Simba, are all out of the same mare. They were embryos that were flushed. These horses will be about 6-7 years, so they'll be 7 years ago. And because it was...
Take a post, I'll take one.
So what they're doing here, Lindsay, there was the ball was hit over the back line by the defending team, the Kiwis here. So Glenn Gilmore will take a penalty or a free shot at goal in line with where that ball crossed the back line, 60 yards out. The Kiwis can defend it at their peril. Glenn hits it pretty cleanly. And has it come off a post? Hard to tell, but it's still in play. And New Zealand out of jail. Blake Reed hits it back. Looks very, very close to the back line, but it's still in play there by Lockie Gilmore. Taps it back, looking for Blake Reed, but Blake Reed didn't get there, and Dean Fullerton did. Tom Hunt can't keep the dream alive. Fullerton cleans up for him, puts plenty of angle on it, trying to get it across to Kite, but then he takes it himself. Kite can't get there. Tom Hunt's happy to watch it go over the back line, and we're going to have a throw-in on the northwestern corner of the field. 4 minutes 18 on the clock. It's still Australia by 2, 6-4. Yeah, Glenn Gilmore unlucky there to get that through the goalpost at the other end, and as I said, as it happens so very often, the opposition team have turned defence into attack, and we're well inside New Zealand's attacking half. A quick goal here from Tom Hunt on the attack. He's got to get past Glenn Gilmore. Glenn Gilmore stops it in its tracks and then backs it out of danger, and going back in defence is Nick Kite for the Kiwis. Kite comes off Blake Reed's pony's leg. Great save by the pony. Fullerton is going to go near side back shot, leaves it behind. Blake Reed for Australia on the attack. He's going to take one shot, can't quite get it. Hits a divot on the way through, so it's been spoiled there by New Zealand. New Zealand now happy to watch it go. It looks like it's going to be another force. The Kiwis, who were trying to stop it go across the back line, actually hit it last, so it'll be what we call a force. It's a little bit like a corner in soccer, but instead of taking it from the corner in polo, we take it in line with where the ball was hit across the back line by the defending team. So it's probably a little bit wider, another 20 metres wider than the last attempt that Glenn Gilmore made. And the score is still 6-4. About the halfway, 3 minutes 30 the whistle went. So when the umpire blows the whistle, the clock does stop. It doesn't keep running down. And we'll all hold our breath while Glenn Gilmore he hits it pretty cleanly, but it's wide to the left. And umpire Ray Bruce calls it a behind.
Play.
And play is called. Thomas Hunt. Kiwi captain, spent a lot of time in Canoundra. Grew up, went to school in Canoundra. His father was a very successful polo player. Tom Hunt. Can't get through the traffic, but keeps the ball. Reed going for the hook. Doesn't get the first, doesn't get the second, but he does stop Tom from doing any more with the ball. Lockie Gilmore in the clear. Let's see what he can do. He's going to have to send the little pony Pamela now on the fly. Can't get there. Blake Reed, though, he read it. He read it very well. He's on a little horse called Safari. Another Beltree's horse, Blake Reed. It's been backed, but It's still in the field of play, and it's New Zealand with all the numbers. So all the Australian players are on the back line. So Nick Kite has gone straight up the centre of the field. Here he is on the attack. He's got to get past Glenn Gilmore, and he does so. Glenn Gilmore on the lovely horse, but it's, unlucky for Kite, for the New Zealanders and for all the Kiwi crowd. I heard a big sigh.
Well, it's been a pretty low-scoring chukker here compared to the first two. We're seeing a lot of defence out there. What sort of defensive moves can our polo players use?
The main defensive play is the ride-off. That's where we see that the player who's got the ball gets bumped off the line of the ball by the opposing player, and then he'll back that shot away to get the ball out of harm's way. So you just saw a back shot there from Tom Hunt. He was looking for one of his own players to be running onto that, but now it's been turned around by the Aussies. Glenn Gilmore on a very good horse called Amber. Amber was the mare that he scored the amazing goal on last night in the game, and he scored another one. She is a very good mare, Amber. That's 7 goals to 4 now in favour of the Aussies. We saw Glenn last night take the ball from just over the halfway line, tapping it out of the air 12, 15 times. It did not touch the turf, and then he hit it through the goal mouth. It was probably the goal, the best goal we've seen here at the show for the last 2 or 3 years. It was an amazing goal. And there's Glenn on that mare, Amber, again, out of a very good mare called Lisa. One of the best brood mares that Elliston have used over the last few years is Lisa. She's produced some beautiful horses. Lisa's brother scored champion pony the other weekend out at the Windsor Fields. In the Australian Open, I think he might have got champion pony at the Australian Open, a horse called Homer. And the ball stays there. Good defence by the Kiwis. They keep it out of the goals, and they will now just have a quick huddle and set a little plan. They don't want to do anything silly. They just want to give the hitter some options, so they head in different directions. There he goes. But look at that. It's been read by that man, Glenn Gilmore, on the little mare, Amber. Amber's stallion father is a horse called Clarion that Elliston also bred, and it's gone wide over the back line. Clarion, a very, very successful sire at Elliston, but has now been exported to the UK, and he's breeding polo ponies over there now. We've got 30 seconds on the clock. Let's see if the Kiwis can get one in from here. He's got enough time if he gets his skates on. And we don't need anything silly in his own defensive half. He's now over halfway. Tom Hunt. Tom Hunt again. Taps it out of the air. He's got a little bit of traffic to get through. Hits it pretty cleanly, and it's wide. Luck just not going their way, the Kiwis, Lindsay.
Behind.
Oh, they will be shaking their heads there. They just want a couple more points in the board going into the fourth chukker. Into the third chukker now. Hey, Adam, I've been looking at these players out here, and it looks to me like all of them are right-handed. Is that right?
Not necessarily. One of the rules of the sport is you can only hit the ball with your right hand, but some of these guys could be lefties. And again, it's a safety thing. So if you're riding up the line of the ball, someone can actually ride down the line of the ball. And if you both have the mallet in the right hand, then there's no danger. But if someone was on the left side, they would obviously be a collision.
Makes sense from a safety perspective, but a bit of a disadvantage for the lefties, isn't it?
As I said, yes, it could be, but they can steer their horses very well. So we've now got 7 goals to 4. 6 minutes left to decide who will be the Trans-Tasman champions for 2019 here, ladies and gentlemen. Get behind the Aussies. They've got a little bit of a buffer, but in this game, we all know that it is never over until the hooter goes. These Kiwis are hungry for the win, and we know that the Kiwis never give up when they're playing the Aussies, and that's why they're here today. We have some great ponies coming out in the last chukker. So we've got Benny for Dean Fullerton, Simba for Nick Kite, and Wade coming out for Tom Hunt. Glenn Gilmore will come out on a very good little mare called Jasmine. Lockie Gilmore is on Rumour, and Safari is Blake Reed's horse, which has come all the way down from Scone, from the Beltrees property up there at Scone, and Safari is being played by Blake Reed. But 6 minutes to decide the Trans-Tasman champions. And don't forget, we've got the Champion Pony Prize, and we've got the team of 3 ponies, the FL Bragg Trophy. So, just going to wait and see if they bring this back. It did go over the back line at the end of that chukker, and I'm just going. They're warming their ponies up. Oh, the other way. Okay, umpire Ray Bruce will bring them back to the centre for a throw-in for the beginning of the penultimate chukker, the fourth and final chukker of the Trans-Tasman Challenge here for 2019. I want to hear all the Aussie supporters here get behind this Aussie team. And the Kiwi supporters, well, you're allowed to cheer a bit. Most of them are at Bondi, they told me. But ball's been thrown in. Glenn Gilmore comes up with it again. He is on a great little horse here called Jasmine. Hits it cleanly. Will Dean be able to get back? He just watches that go. So if he touched that, it would have been another fourth. So he decided to leave it and watch that go over the back line. Dean Fullerton. And Thomas Hunt brings it in. He knows he's got 3 goals to catch up, so he's trying to get... He's hit his own man. And Lockie Gilmore. Lovely little away shot to his dad. Brings it back inside, hits it cleanly through the traffic. Great shot there by Gilmore. It's onto the stick of Blake Reed. Can he tap it through? He's going to have to put plenty of angle. Oh, he's hit it wide. Ooh. And the Kiwis breathe a sigh of relief. Tom Hunt, he's left it for Nick Kite to just bring in off the back line. Tom Hunt's changed the tactics. Normally Tom takes the hit-ins, but he's just gone up and said, you take this one, Nick. Got them to halfway. Lockie Gilmore's left it behind on Rumour by the stallion Normandy, another Elliston stallion. Tom Hunt on the attack. And you can just see that Dean Fullerton keeps Lockie Gilmore away from Tom, so he has the shot at goal, and there they go. The Kiwis had to be the first team to score here in this fourth chukker, and they've done so. So they've narrowed the margin to 2 goals. It's 7 goals to 5, still the Australia's way, but it is New Zealand on the attack, and here they come, the Kiwis. Like I said, they never, ever give up, and they've won this line out. Tom Hunt looks over his shoulder. Back shot deflects off the pony's hoof. Across to the field. Tom Hunt still keeps the ball. Gets back. He's in the centre of the field. Glenn Gilmore's going to try and come up the line and steal it. Doesn't get there. Lovely approach shot by Tom Hunt. And it's through the goal from over the halfway. And New Zealand now have put 2 quick goals. And there's only 1 goal in it. And it's 7 goals to 6. Wow. I don't think the Aussies thought the Kiwis would come out so strong in this chukker. But they have brought out the good ponies here in the last. So 2 quick goals. And Glenn Gilmore, he knows how to respond. He flies that one through. Glenn Gilmore, he doesn't lose his cool. He saw they got 2 quick goals, but he's put another one, so there's still 2 goals, the buffer. And Glenn Gilmore keeps his cool on a little horse called Jasmine. He's bred it himself out of one of his mares called Jackie that she won a champion pony prize down at the Melbourne Cup tournament a couple of years ago. And New Zealand win the lineouts. So you can see now the team that wins the lineouts does generally get the first field, gets within striking distance very quickly, and they can put a quick goal on. And here they go. The Kiwis have brought it back to 8 goals to 7. And that's that man, Tom Hunt. So 1 goal the difference. And look at this. Kite. Nick Kite on the fly. Decides to check up and wait for it. Oh, he gets a bad bounce, he does. And so it's now back with the Aussies who've backed it. But the first one backs Dean Fullerton on the little horse called, looks like it's Benny. A Dowling homebred. Sam Hunt takes it around himself. It's not an easy job to go the long way around Glenn Gilmore, who's very strong in the centre of the field. Lockie Gilmore for Australia. Let's see what he can do from here, ladies and gentlemen, on the grey horse called Rumour. Lockie Gilmore keeps it alive, taps it out of the air, but he can't keep it controlled all that well. And it comes over to his dad, Glenn Gilmore. Glenn Gilmore, the Australian captain. He's just going to try and dribble that one in. He's going to keep control. It goes through for Australia. 9 goals to 7, and the Aussies are back 2 goals in front. 2 minutes 30 left on the clock. Plenty of time for the Kiwis. And they're just having a quick chat to themselves as they go back to the centre. A very fast and furious test match we've had here this afternoon. The whistle's gone. It looks like they've just got a pony issue with Blake Reed. He just wants to check something. It could be gear. So they're going to switch ponies. He'll grab the pony that has that he's got as So they'll just wait a little while for Blake Reed to tighten the girth on the fresh pony. So as I said earlier on, ladies and gentlemen, there's 3 trophies up for grabs here this afternoon. The ponies are such an integral part of this game. I've been trying my best to keep everyone up to date with the breeding and where the ponies have been bred, because it is so important, and it's a thankless task being a polo pony breeder, and we really, really appreciate the efforts that the polo pony breeders have done over the years to lend some of these horses to these players here to get this New Zealand team out here tonight. And the Dowlings down there in
Right, guys.
down at Jugiong have done an amazing job looking after Dean Fullerton. The Elliston horses, the Packer family, helping out with Glenn Gilmore, and now Lockie Gilmore on the attack. On a homebred, a little grey horse called Rumour. Out of Ruby, I should say. Hits that pretty cleanly, and the flag's gone up for Australia. 10 goals to 7, and it's gone out over the stand, out into the warm-up arena, out near the road. So that was an amazing goal by Lockie Gilmore in the last.
Okay, over there, guys.
10 goals to 7, a minute 50 on the clock. 3 quick goals here from the Kiwis, and it can happen in this game on this arena. They need to be the next to score, but it's that man, Lockie Gilmore, on the attack. Lockie Gilmore leaves it behind. Glenn Gilmore running it in. On Jasmine. He's going to get another one. Glenn Gilmore. He's the man. Great goal for Glenn Gilmore. And it's now 11 goals to 7. A minute 20 left on the clock. You could imagine that the Australian players wouldn't be quick to get back to the lineup, but the Kiwis would be there lined up very quickly, trying to get this game back, try and get a couple of quick goals. Gilmore. Lockie Gilmore hits a beautiful shot. Fullerton went for the back shot, left it behind. Gilmore was back onto it very quickly. Here he goes. Oh, he keeps it in the field of play, but no, he's waved it over the back line by the looks. Goal judge thought it might have gone out, but the umpires have disagreed, and he said play on. Lockie Gilmore hitting it through, looking for Blake Reed, but it's been picked up there by Fullerton. Dean Fullerton. For New Zealand on the attack. He's nearly at halfway, over the halfway. He's got Nick Kite there unmarked, but he's a long way from home. Nick Kite doesn't want to see this ball go out over the back line. He tries to keep it in, but it's gone wide to the left. So 30 seconds left on the clock. Ladies and gentlemen, be ready. We could be about to see an Australian victory. Glenn Gilmore unloads the bomb, looking for runners, but it's going to be Tom Hunt going back in defence. Tom Hunt. He's happy to watch that one go over the back line. That was very close for the Australians. Now we'll count it down.
Play!
Play's been called. And that's the hooter, ladies and gentlemen. The Australians have won it. You saw it here. The Trans-Tasman Cup for 2019, and the Australians have been victorious. At number 1, Blake Reed. Number 2, Lockie Gilmore. And at number 3, the man of the moment, Glenn Gilmore.
Thanks, mate.
Well, thank you so much, Adam Buchert, for your coverage here of the Trans-Tasman Polo. Great to see Australia up 11-7 out here on Good Friday at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. Well, I know our commentator is so much more than a commentator here tonight. He's our judge for both the Cayuga Perpetual Cup and also for the FL Bragg Perpetual Trophy. So we'll wait for those results to come through as they make their way around the Mackay Arena. Show them your appreciation, ladies and gentlemen. Australia, the victors here in the Trans-Tasman Polo Battle.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the two teams are just going to line up here. What we will be awarding is the trophies for the Trans-Tasman Cup, and we will also be awarding the 2 pony prizes. So we have the FL Bragg trophy, which will be the champion pony, and that has been awarded in 2019 to Glenn Gilmore's Amber by Clarion out of Lisa.
Congratulations to Glenn Gilmore and Amber. We'll bring Glenn over here to have a chat about Amber. He was pretty thrilled a second ago when we let him know he was getting champion pony here tonight. But to be fair to him, it's not the first time he's won it. He picked it up all the way back in 1998 on Grace, 2000 on Kisma, won it again and again and again between 2008 and 2010 on Duna and Salaba. Picked it up a couple of years ago as well on Nonchalant. But here we are. Tell us a bit about Amber, Glenn Gilmore.
Thank you very much for everybody that's come here today. How did you enjoy the show, guys? Thank you so much for coming out. We love showing off our horses and having a lot of fun playing our polo game to all of you that came out. The little mare Amber that's coming out here now with Charlotte is a gorgeous little chestnut mare. I played her here last night as well, and I'm very grateful. She's out of a mare called Lisa by Clarion, which I'm sure Adam told you about. She's a lot of fun to play. As you can see, she's very cute, and so's the horse. And did you get that joke, Charlotte? It's okay. Anyway, guys, this little mare, Amber, is a ripping little horse. I'm very grateful to Mrs. Packer for letting me play her. And to the Kiwis, give them a round of applause, guys. How good were they? They're awesome, so tough to play against. And to my teammates, Blake Reed and my son, Lockie, it's been a dream. I got to play with my father here, and I'm able to now play with my son here, which is pretty cool. It's very sad that you told me I won a champion pony prize before my son was born. Thank you very much.
Well, speaking of which, it was a real delight to see your son out here today. And Adam Buchert, I understand you have another prestigious award to announce.
I certainly do, Lindsay. The Cayuga Perpetual Trophy is a team of 3 ponies, and that this day has been won by Lockie Gilmore, Glenn's son. And that team consists of Marigold, which was bred by Bruce Gavin, Pamela, which is also bred by Bruce Gavin from Wellington, and Rumour, which was bred by the Gilmore family themselves. And Rumour's the grey pony that Lockie's currently on.
Well, Lockie, congratulations. That's a pretty major award to take out. A lot of people breeding polo ponies, and you've got 3 of them, regarded as the best by Adam Buchert, our judge here tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam. This blue mare, Rumour, is one that Dad and I have bred. And then the 2, Marigold and Pamela, was given by Bruce Gavin. I'm very thankful for him for giving them me. And they're going really well this season, and I can't wait to play them in the future. Thank you. Oh, and also thank you to all the grooms that came out, and especially to Lisa, who did all the horses for me today.
Oh, thank you very much, Lisa. The unspoken grooms behind the scenes. A big cheer for Lockie Gilmore and Marigold, Pamela and Rumour. It would be remiss of us, however, if we didn't take a moment to speak with our Kiwi team. Might go with our number 2 here, Nick Kite. They'll be hurting a bit tonight, lost by about 4 goals. Nick, walk us through this game.
Yeah, we always knew it was going to be tough coming here against a pretty well-drilled Australian team. And it's always an honour to play for your country, and especially to play with a cousin and a very good friend of ours, Dean Fullerton. And yeah, we thought we were going to be able to do it, but obviously not tonight.
Well, we want to thank you very much for putting on some spectacular polo. We saw some great defence out there, some wonderful shots. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kiwi team taking out the red ribbon here tonight. But it was our hometown heroes, the wonderful Australians that took out the big win here this evening. Blake Reed, Lockie Gilmore and Glenn Gilmore, show them your appreciation.
Yep, now we're doing the champion pony first, which is, yeah, you've already announced it. Can you just announce it again?
Well, to make the presentation now of our champion pony, Mr. Duncan McIntyre, taking out our beautiful trophy here, the FL Bragg Perpetual Trophy. Glenn Gilmore, if you could come forward, please, for the presentation of this trophy that has been awarded since the 1970s. It's been won in the past by the Cudmores, the Walkers, the Maple Browns. Wonderful horses out here like Duna, Bongo. Cheryl won it a few years ago.
What's that one there, the closest one to you?
And we'll make the presentation now formally for Lockie Gilmore and his presentation of 3 ponies, Marigold, Pamela and Rumour. This goes back to 1974, the Cayuga Perpetual Cup, donated by the McIntyre family, and first went to J.K. McKay Jr. It's been won in recent years by Kelvin Johnson, Joe Curran, Tom Hunt, Matt Grimes. Lockie Gilmore's taken out twice now for a young bloke. That's pretty impressive. And Kelvin Johnson won as well last year. Big thank you to our wonderful judge and commentator, Adam Buckett, who comes to us from Windsor. He's actually won a competition out here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show before, and he tells us just how special it is for our competitors to be able to play against a crowd like this, under lights and despite the obstacles. Lockie Gilmore now being presented by Duncan McIntyre, our Chief Steward, and always a big supporter of the McIntyre family of polo here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. He's the recipient of the Cayuga Perpetual Cup. Well, as they make their way out of the main arena, that was night 2 of our polo here. We had New South Wales, Queensland State of Origin last night. New South Wales taking out the big win, and fantastic to see Australia beating New Zealand here tonight. So don't go anywhere, because we have a most interesting equine sport coming up for you next. It was something that is part of military history in many, many countries around the world. India, Pakistan, it was also famous in the Arabian world for a long time. But now it's a sport that people play for fun. Galloping horses, lances, and a tiny peg of wood in the ground that they need to collect in order to get 4 points. They do it in a team of 4. And we'll be back out here in a few moments' time with our tent peg challenge.